game week.
Yes, sir.
Practice going well so far. Attitude, effort, everything where you want it to be.
The attitude and the spirit has been very good this week.
Effort.
Effort's been great, and you can definitely tell it's game week.
You make a decision on box or field yet?
Yeah, I'm going to start off on the field. I think that's the best use of our abilities at this point, yes.
Maybe give us a scouting report of South Dakota. Not really what concerns you, but what they do.
You know, I think South Dakota has a very good offensive attack. They attack with multiple personnel groups. They're going to come in with big guys, and a couple plays later they'll be in a spread formation. One back in the backfield. So they present a lot of different looks, and so defensively we need to do a good job of assignments, communication, and make sure we don't leave someone uncovered or they were not in the wrong place and give up a big play.
How do you feel about Ifo returning as a return man? That give you pause that he's feel a little more vulnerable maybe?
We've been blessed. We've had great returners for a long time, and I've not thought much about Ifo. I hope that when he's back there, that in particular on punt return, that the defensive guys block for him and that he goes all the way.
How does Johnny Reagan help your defense this year?
I think Johnny has some great tools. Johnny's extremely fast. Johnny's extremely smart, and he's sudden at the point of attack. So I think Johnny can help us in the coverage game. I think he can help us in the run configuration in terms of taking on blockers. And as he progresses, I think he'll be a good nickel linebacker for us.
Even though you weren't the defensive coordinator last year, do you have a feel for how the team compares at this point as they were last year? Do you have any?
It's very difficult for me to assess or compare this team, this defensive unit, to last year's defensive unit. Because last year, as a position coach, I was really focused just on linebackers, and I wasn't looking at the overall structure. I think we're in a real good place as a defense, and really excited to see the players on Saturday get out and play and actually play someone and see what it really looks like.
What are your expectations of the defense on Saturday?
The goal, the things we would like to see as a staff is, one, that we communicate well, two, that we have great leverage on the ball, and three, that we that we really tackle really well. And if we get those three things, that's going to eliminate big plays, it's going to eliminate explosion plays, and it should give us a chance to really start to build and get some momentum moving forward.
Against a lesser opponent, how do you keep the focus on Saturday and not have it drift forward to the next Saturday?
All I know is that we've been working hard to get ready for this first game. So everything we have is on the first game. So we haven't. I don't even know how to answer the question. We better play well this week, or it's not going to be off to the start that we'd like to have.
Troy Hill, one listed as a starting cornerback. What did he do to win that spot?
Troy has been a standout this fall camp. The first couple of days, he was the most improved defensive player, and he's maintained a very high level of play from the standpoint of coverage. He's been really good tackling, very physical on the perimeter. So, he did a terrific job and earned this opportunity.
At one of the safety spots, it's listed as Robinson or Daniels. How do you go about deciding who starts on Saturday?
I think Coach Neal's going to come in at some point and suggest what he thinks is the best starting lineup, and we'll talk about it, and we'll go with whatever the best thing is.
How close has that battle been?
I think that the battle at safety between Robinson and Daniels has been tremendous. It's been what this team needs, because we're going to need both those guys. We're going to need two deep everywhere to be successful.
That said, what is the philosophy on starting? I know guys love to be named the starter, but your guys, there's so many plays and you run in so many guys. What's the emphasis there?
I think from a coaching staff, we normally see it as two starters. We need two deep at a position. I think for the players, it's kind of a feel good that I'm the starter. But from the coaching standpoint, we need two guys that can go, that know everything, that we can put in and roll through and stay fresh and play fast.
Is that a concept that's hard to convince these guys is worthy?
No, our players have been really, really, really good. If you folks don't watch practice, but if you watch practice, you would see guys just rotating in, constantly rotating in, and our players are great about it. So it's never been a second thought for us.
It seems like on offense and defense, there's a lot of guys that are competing that a guy has played and a guy hasn't. How much do you take the experience factor into picking a starting?
When we're evaluating, a newcomer versus a guy that has experience, our evaluation is purely on the field. So if they're close on the field, we feel pretty close about both of them. Obviously, a guy who's played in game, you want to lean on him a little more because there's that game experience. But if a newcomer is performing at a high level, we have to take that into consideration as well. I think what that says is that the talent level on the team is actually rising, which is a very positive sign for us.
DP, in practice, you learn a lot about your guys, but does it take a game or two sometimes to really see what guys can do for you?
Absolutely. Game day, all of a sudden, it's crowds, it's fans, it's energy levels, it's anxiety, it's all those other emotional components that don't rear their head on the practice field as much, but all of a sudden in the game they do. So, that's why it's real important this first game that we focus on leverage, tackling, fundamentals, and get our foot down, and then we can start to progress the defense. But that's why our focus is on those key concepts.
Coach, kind of along that same line, do you expect a radical difference in this defense as opposed to last year in all areas?
I think this year's defense is going to be similar because it's based, it's built the same way, out of the same foundation. I think as the season unfolds, you'll start to recognize some differences. But I think the structure will look very, very similar. But I think as the season goes along, I think people will start to notice. There are some things different going on.
Are you a fan of blitzing?
Am I a fan of blitzing?
Yeah.
Yes, I think there's a big role for blitzing. I think you have to be smart when you blitz because sometimes I think you want to blitz, but if you're going to blitz and they're blocking 8 guys, you're not going to get there. Then you're basically saying we've got a couple guys that are going to have to defend guys all over the field. So you just got to be smart about it. But I think blitzing, it needs to be effective. It needs to be coordinated with what the protections are. How can you overload them and create an advantage? But I think, as the season moves along, the blitzing and zone coverage and showing the pressure and dropping into zones and all those different components will come into play. I think a lot of it depends on the offense.